but he's not going to be able to do it coming into the chicane, so he's got to think about where this might pay out for him. Back onto the pound now.
We should be live for
with an hour and 23
part 3.
minutes to go, accelerating down towards the second chicane, and Schumacher looking like he's getting a tow here.
Yeah, following in the wheel tracks, and it looks like he could be setting the Peugeot up for the second chicane here. Obviously last lap he made that mistake, but yeah, he's definitely got a bit more confidence, a bit more grip to go around the outside.
Job done then, goes through, picks up the place as he effectively returns to where he was. So he was down a spot for a lap, he's now put himself back into 11th place. But, you know, on the one hand we've been saying how ultra-competitive Hypercar is this season and has been in this race. But here you're looking at two brands that really haven't factored. And arguably
we've also lost the picture again.
Yeah, that's because I'm doing other stuff, man. I've only got a certain amount of screens, my guy.
Does that happen every time you click off the...
It's because it's in windowed.
Simply stop doing other stuff.
What, like start setting up a new stream? Okay,
Yeah, just don't.
Okay, bro.
Right, so the 83, the 6 and the 50 are all in. This is where things are going to get interesting. This would mean that they would both need to do exactly 40-minute stints to get to the end of the race. So that will be interesting. We momentarily had a yellow flag at Marshall Post 16. If I'm correct, that's somewhere down in, I would guess, the last Mulsanne chicane, because I know 19 and 20 are up at Mulsanne corner. Car 193 is now under investigation for a pit stop that happened an hour ago. And that was a long stop for Robert Kubica. He's left the pit lane, but it took a minute and 24 seconds. Was there a tyre change? Doesn't appear so.
It's pretty good, and to say that the car, you know, was only just pretty much built this time last year, you know, a year later to be here, you know, the biggest race in the world, and both cars nearly at the finish, you know, is a very good achievement. So yeah, fingers crossed, you know, everything.
And the number 6, in the hands of Kevin Estra, has gotten through the pit lane before the number 50 of Antonio Fuoco, even with a 19-second longer pit stop. So that is crucial for their race. They've now got new tyres, a new driver, and are out ahead of the number 50 Ferrari. That is really, really important. And car number 9 has picked up a drive-through penalty for track limits. That is the car currently running 4th in LMP2. It's in the hands of Masseo Capietto at the moment, the Iron Lynx Proton machine.
You know, really enjoying it.
Fingers crossed for the last hour for you guys.
Cheers.
So Robert Kubica still in number 83, and fair play, driver fitness, driver fatigue, all has to be factored in, but especially when you're considering somebody that has this long-standing injury that was sustained in rallying, put him out of circuit racing for a while. He did go into the World Rally Championship, of course, for a time, but then came back into circuit racing, and right now is leading Le Mans. You're looking at number 50. This is the car now in the hands of Antonio Fuoco, and number 6 has got Kevin Estra behind the wheel. A drive-through penalty is going for number 9, which is 4th in LMP2 at the moment, and therefore Matteo Capietto looks as though his LMP2 aspirations have just disappeared.
Okay, so the situation is we are P3, we would need a bit more gap behind, like 4 seconds to be safe to secure the podium. Let's see the best we can do on the next 2 stints.
So we will expect car 51.
Interestingly, that was Antonio Fuoco being told that they believe that number 50 car is going to be in P3. All they did say is that they think they need a couple more seconds, just a couple more seconds, to be completely safe from the virtual energy undercut that the number 51 is going to have.
We have seen various punctures here and there.
Yeah.
So, you know, nothing is set in stone yet.
I was just thinking that car's dropped quite a long way back, hasn't it, 15? It's sort of been on the fringes of the top 6 for much of the race, but it's a long way back now. 16th after problems today.
I think both cars, BMWs, were in about 20 minutes ago with looked like engine issues or software issues. So yeah, to get them back out is a good thing for the team.
Alternator issue on 15, being reminded. So that car hemorrhaging laps earlier on. And it means, therefore, that Kevin Magnussen, who is still in the pit lane, in fact, is in danger of tumbling even further away from that 16th place. Now, on track, how about this? Porsche versus Ferrari. Porsche ahead, Ferrari behind. And it is number 6, which is Kevin Estre, with tucked up behind the car in the hands of Antonio Fuoco. So this is the third on track right now. Number 6 Porsche, just ahead of number 50 Ferrari. And in years past, when you get to the last hour and a bit, you might be coasting, you might be nursing a car to the end. These guys are still flat out.
Yeah, this is a genuine fight. Both cars they've pitted maybe two laps apart.
And I am back. Sorry, I just had to sort my doggo out.
Swooping left, and now that very fast run down towards the heavy braking zone into the chicane. That sort of elongated chicane of left and right, and then another left and right before you hit the pit straight in front of the grandstands that have been filling up over the last couple of hours as people have finished their walk around the circuit and want to be near the start and finish area, ready for the end of the race. Drivers that have done, sit and watch and hope. Over the line goes then Kevin S. Antonio Fuoco behind. That gap is 1.3 seconds. Porsche so good around this time of day in this temperature yesterday, but if it's found the sweet spot, it's come late. And there is the alternator issue perhaps again. 4:15 BMW, it's back in the box. And look at this, with an hour and a quarter to go, the problems are serious.
Number 15 BMW back in the pits, back in the garage with an expected alternator issue, which will be affecting the car's ability to properly put the power down. So that car back in the garage and is going to now lose more time. Now running last and penultimate last in class of the 2 BMWs. Both multiple laps off the lead. For 15, 7 laps off the lead, and the 20 currently sitting, I believe, 10 or 11 laps off of the lead overall.
It's extra points, but it's an achievement in itself, and it's a good thing to do, and it's nice to talk about that with guests, that you went through a 24-hour race such as this, an iconic race, and you have actually completed that assessment, which is getting to the end.
Yeah, indeed. So, and you know, it could be good for future business. You know, if you have a good result here or get to the end, and an investor or a manufacturer thinks, okay, there's potential there, you never know. So, at the Porsche pit bunker, they're looking on, and they're seeing their car now in the hands of Kevin Estre, getting away a little bit from Antonio Fuoco. Fuoco is 4th, and we can listen in.
So the 6 has new tires, and they will double, but they will face some deck. We might be better than them on their 3rd stint than their double. Let's see.
Right, so it's advantage Porsche for the moment, but when the tires go off, the Ferrari will be able to fight back.
Hilarious. The Ferrari team manager for the number 50 completely coping that somehow the Ferrari's triple stinted tyres will be better than the Porsche's double stinted tyres at the end of the race. Okay, guys.
Keep believing.
Like, come on. I know that it's the whole bit is that you guys are
Italian.
I know that it's a whole bit that you guys are you know, copium filled. But come on, lads, let's get real.
Be very frustrating for Fuoco right now, who is just pretty much watching that Porsche drive away from him.
Now 51, we understand. Antonio Giovinazzi is going to pit at the end of this lap for fuel only. You're riding with him as the car comes through Tertre Rouge off the Bugatti circuit onto the public roads. And now the speed builds, and for the moment it looks as though the road is clear ahead of him. So no real dramas on this lap in terms of traffic for Antonio Giovinazzi as he goes down to the first of the chicanes.
You see the amount of pickup, don't you, off off the white line there on the public road, and how much that's built up as the race has gone on.
Yeah, quite often you'll get it all, you know, a thin line just wide enough for the cars, but here, because the cars are taking all different size passing on the straights, all the rubber just flicks to the edge of the track completely, and some probably over the barriers.
Quick look at top speeds. You see the relative top speed of a hypercar, an LMP2, and an LM GT3 car as well there. And those LM GT3 cars, in terms of pure numbers, Johnny, might not look quite as a flash, but they are being driven just as hard as anything else out there.
Yeah, over 300 kilometers there from the...
I tell you what, this would be one of the comeback races of all time, I think, in Le Mans. If the number 6 does manage to come home in second place here.
Yep.
Kevin Estre single-handedly taking that car from last to second in his first 3 hours.
Does indeed, as you look there at Ferrari number 51 then. So Antonio Giovinazzi, winner 2 years ago, looking to try and double up, but after that spin that Pierre Guidi had when he put the car in the gravel coming into the pit lane, that time loss is going to go against them, as are myriad penalties that the car has accrued over the course of the race. So it still is advantage 83, isn't it, with just over an hour to go, an hour and 12 minutes now. But all Giovinazzi can do is keep on pushing, look after the rubber, but keep on pushing.
2 seconds faster than on that last lap, so yeah, he's really got the bit between his teeth right now.
Has indeed, hasn't he, as he comes out of Arnage. And this has been a relatively clear lap. There's one back marker up the road, admittedly. Super slow-mo shots here of a bug-splattered car, more and more grime on it. There are manufacturers that, if they have a really good result here, never bother to wash the car. They keep it in that end-of-race grimy
And
state.
lacquer it over,
That's
yeah.
right, yeah, and preserve it.
Yeah, it's the best thing you could do is keep the bodywork, keep even the windscreen as it is, bugs, rubber marks and everything, because it's an iconic look, and it holds value as well. If the car does get resold or goes up in value, just keep it as original as you can. The worst thing to do is clean it on Sunday afternoon.
Didn't know there was money in dead insects. I must research this further. All right, into the pit lane comes then Antonio Giovinazzi, number 51. He does not do a Pierre Guidi. He gets it beautifully executed to the pit speed limit line. From this point on, Peter, you're coming up to your pit stand. What processes are you going through?
Well, depending on if you're getting out of the car, which I'm not sure he is. No, he's not. Yeah, you're basically, you've got nothing.
And hats off to the Aston Martins, you've got to say.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The air hose out of your helmet, and then you get your drink detached.
Neither
But now he's just sitting there waiting.
neither car having suffered any major issue.
Car cleaned, they might be on
There was
Apart
a
from
little
that
bit at
one.
the start of the race.
might be getting
Yeah.
a drink in there as well.
Yeah, a little bit at the start of the race, a little scuffle on lap 1, and there was a period where the number 7 car had to make a few pit stops in short succession to get an issue fixed.
An easier pit stop to deal with if it is
But they got it fixed.
Yeah, well, and now they're running very well. The number 9 in 13th, the number 7 in 15th. I know it doesn't sound like anything major, but every other team in their first year at Le Mans generally finish last and not quite last.
Yeah.
So to be in amongst the pack and running competitive lap times is very good for that Aston Martin team in their first full season here in WEC.
Over the line then goes Kevin Estre in the best of the Porsches, and he's going to get back ahead, isn't he? Look, of Giovinazzi, so that puts the Porsche now second on the road. Estre, a bit like last year, is doing everything he can to keep
So,
the up there.
I believe it's going to be close. It is going to be very close, I've got to say.
Single-handedly, that's unfair, but he has done a really impressive
But
job
at the moment,
taking hope for the brand.
at the moment, everyone in the top 4 should have one stop left.
We're last on the grid. And
It is going to be close.
in his stint, he managed to get the car into second place during the pit stop cycle. So, yeah, he did like a
The question is how close, really.
His teammates have done a good job as well.
And interestingly, the number 51 has managed to jump the number 50 in that most recent stop. The number 51 only on pit road for...
Indeed so. Now look there, you've got
Let me
two.
check. It says he was on pit road for 4 seconds. I somehow doubt that that's the case. He was on pit road for an hour, for a minute and 15, so he gained 4 seconds on the 50 just in pit lane. And now, hopefully, I say hopefully, those two cars are now going to fight with each other, would be based. Yeah. There's the message to Antonio Giovinazzi, and that is the benefit that that the 51 has got from that extra 2 or 3 laps of fuel. 10 seconds less in virtual energy and fuel than those in front. The 83 is miles ahead though, 35.8 seconds ahead of the number 6 car, just absolutely dominating. So the best it's going to get for the 51 is if they can get to the back, if they can get ahead of the number 6. But they've got to watch out because they've got the number 50 right behind them, and if the number 50 of Antonio Fuoco decides that he wants to challenge that number 51, decides that he wants to fight with that number 51, then they're both going to drop back. And also, let's not forget that it is still Kevin Estre in that number 6. I expect that now that the team have told Antonio Fuoco that information about gaining 10 seconds in the pit stop, I would expect that Kevin Estre has just been told that they're going to gain 10 seconds in the pit stop, and is now pushing like all hell to prevent that from making any difference. Knowing how Kevin Estre drives.
So yeah, it looks as though now the concentration from the works cars is on second place and being ahead of number 6 Porsche.
So it makes you think, will they rotate 51 and 50 so that 50 can attack the Porsche?
Yeah. Well, they've got previous for rotating the order, haven't they? They did it in the pits at Spa, a loophole that's been clamped down upon. But yeah, for the team game and the points in the championship, there are all sorts of computations being worked out there. There'll be plans A, B, C, and many more besides.
I will just remind you of a few years ago when that on the very last lap, the leading car, the Toyota, stopped.
It did indeed. It did indeed.
Anything can happen.
Oh, it can indeed. It can indeed. But Estre, meanwhile, in second place on the road, still chasing after Kubica. Robert Kubica's last lap was a 3:29. Kevin Estre goes across the line and does a 3:27. So he's brought the gap down a little, but Kubica is under no immediate threat, and he still has 66 minutes of the race to go. Fastest lap set.
And I think Kevin Estre has been given that information. Gained about a second on the number 51 Ferrari in that first lap out of the pit lane for the 51. And the gap generally continuing to grow. It does contract a little bit here and there, but it is growing far more than it is shrinking at the moment for the number 6 car. Currently sits at about 3 seconds. Needs to find 7 in what's left of his stint, which is about 7 laps, and then laps out the pit lane. Realistically, he's got 9 laps to find 7 seconds. And even then, it doesn't have to be that much. If he can find 5 or 6 seconds and be just behind the 50, there is every chance that he'll be able to make an overtake happen on track.
Here, big flash of the lights from number 50 of Antonio Fuoco. He's closing on Giovinazzi, and let's see, is he going to make the move? Giovinazzi,
and the 50 and the 51 swap. Not surprised there.
And the work is done, so there you have it. Fuoco moves.
The 50 has been unleashed to try and hunt down the number 6.
Rather than the outright win, and now on number 50 shoulders.
I've got to admit, I don't understand that move from Ferrari.
I don't know.
Do they think the 50 will be able to pull the 51 to the 6 and stop that 10-second gap from developing between the 6 and the 51? The 51 obviously running slightly heavier. It's probably got about 10 or 15, possibly up to 20 litres more fuel in. We've got a yellow flag in the final sector. Oh, there's a car stopped. We've got a GT3 stopped. This could be interesting. The car stopped is the number 59 United Autosports, out on track, currently in the hands of Gregor Sosi. I believe that is a car failure on track rather than a crash.
So pressure is on now for Antonio
And the
Fuoco
car,
to go after
yes,
this.
is stopped
3
now.
seconds and drama for
There
the
it is.
surviving United Autosports McLaren. It is limping on. Gregoire Saucy at the wheel of it. It brought out the white flag, which means slow-moving vehicle. He's desperately trying to limp it back to the pit lane, but we're just over an hour to go. That could well be game over.
That's got no drive at all, has it?
Yeah, and Gregoire Saucy
He'll try to reset the car.
appearing to have lost the car there. He'll try and just do a Control-Alt-Delete, reset
Screw some wires around and just hope that
the session, kind of reset the car.
not 100% on track.
But I don't think that's going to work. Prepare for full course yellow at 14:58:30. Now, there's a reason that this is important. The reason that this is important is because time spent under full course yellow is far less fuel taxing than time spent under green flag racing. And I don't think that McLaren has stopped in a particularly accessible place. I don't think there's an escape until the Porsche curves down in that end of the track, and the tractors don't move particularly quickly. So this could be a long-ish full course yellow. And that would mean that all of the cars currently in the top 4 are now, I would say, absolutely guaranteed to only need one stop.
Yeah. Marshall's post 20, that's for the McLaren that has come to a halt. So Hypercar, it is Ferrari ahead of Porsche, and we're hearing that 50 and 51 are going to swap back into the earlier order. Giovinazzi to go ahead of Fuoco. That's what we're being told. We'll see if it is going to be the case. There they are. Look, coming on to the Mulsanne. And it is 50 Fuoco ahead of 51 Giovinazzi for now. But keep an eye on this because we're being told that there could be a switch on the cards. Down to the first of the...
Oh, great.
Giovinazzi to go ahead of Fuoco. That's what we're being told. We'll see if it is going to be the case. There they are. Look, coming on to the Mulsanne. And it is 50 Fuoco ahead of 51 Giovinazzi for now. But keep an eye on this because we're being told that there could be a switch on the cards. Down to the first of the...
I think it's WEC TV, to be honest, not the stream. Because someone has just said, don't you cup now, WEC TV. And people are saying mine stopped too. Anyway, it's the final hour, etc, etc. So anyway,
Good God, man.
the final hourly update, 60 minutes of racing remain. It's the number 83 AF Corsa Privateer Hypercar leading the way at the moment with the number 6 Porsche Penske Motorsports in the hands of Kevin Estre in second. In third is the number 50 Factory Ferrari AF Corsa in the hands of Antonio Fuoco. Just behind him, the number 51 Ferrari AF Corsa Hyper Factory car? Jesus. Factory Hypercar in the hands of Antonio Fuoco. No, Antonio Fuoco is the other one. It's Antonio Giovinazzi.
Antonio.
You've got too many Antonios who are Italian. They need to chill out with it, right? Fifth at the moment in Hypercar is the number 12 Cadillac Hertz Team Jota in the hands of Will Stevens. That car, having some struggles overnight, was down as low as I think kind of 10th or 11th in the order as things were running. But now back up to P5, a top 5 finish for Cadillac. Not what they will have been hoping to finish after a front row lockout, but it could be worse. Could always be worse. Anyway, notification that the full course yellow is going to be ending in just about 40 seconds time, and we're going to be back racing again. In LMP2, okay. In LMP2, the number 43 into Europol competition of Nick Yellowly is leading the way, ahead of the number 48 VDS Panis Racing in the hands of Esteban Masson. The number 9 Iron Lynx Proton in the hands of Matteo Capietto was having issues, and that... I've got multiple cars listed as being stopped right now that I don't believe are.
Yeah, that's because it's full course yellow.
I think...
Has just ended.
No, because we're green flag though.
Yeah, it's just ended, and it runs them through as
okay
slow.
Okay, no worries.
On resumption.
So it was the number 9 Iron Lynx Proton in the hands of Matteo Capietto. That car had a drive-through not long ago, but is still running in third position in class. The number 199 AO by TF Spike in the hands of Louis Delatraz running P4, with the number 11 Proton competition in the hands of Bent Viscal rounding out the top 5 in LMP2. In LMGT3, it's the 92 Manthey first form in the hands of Ricardo Pera leading the way after the retirement for the number 78 Dakotas ASP team Lexus. The number 21 Vista AF Corsa Ferrari in the hands of Alessio Rivera runs second, with the 27 Heart of Racing team in the hands of Matteo Drudi, the Aston Martin, running third. The 81 TF Sport Corvette in the hands of Charlie Eastwood is in fourth, with the other Dakotas ASP team Lexus, the one that's still running, currently being driven by Jose Maria Lopez, and that rounds out the top 5 in LMGT3.
Still do not have pictures back yet for now.
Currently out of the race. We've lost 12 cars so far, possibly more, with the 15 BMW still on pit lane as things stand. Currently lost from the race, I'm going to do them in chronological order from the start to the most recent retirement. The 88 Proton Competition had that backwards moment at Tete Rouge after losing a tyre. That